family. Okay, so I'm going to start a series on forgiveness. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because this is the one topic that a lot of people ask me about. So apparently people think I'm very forgiving and they want to know why and how I go about it. So I want to start with the basics, which is in Matthew chapter 18, where, Peter asked Jesus about forgiveness. And Jesus said, he was like, oh, do you have to forgive 7 times? And Jesus was like, no, not 7 times. But in chapter 21, it's 22 rather, he says 70 times, 7 times. Now, I don't think anyone's ever offended us that much that we can say we've already forgiven people that much. So if you have not forgiven people that much, then yeah, you still have grace and room for forgiveness. So the other thing I wanted to point out with this is we have been forgiven much by Jesus, right? And because of that forgiveness, I think that we should extend it. I find that we who have been recipients of forgiveness much, we don't extend it as much as we should, right? And the example that Jesus gave in Matthew chapter 18, and I recommend that you go read it on your own time, he was talking about the illustration of a servant coming to a king to ask for mercy, because he was owing some money and he couldn't pay it, right? And he pleaded and begged, and the king, gave him grace and allowed him to go. And that same servant had a servant that was owing him money, which obviously wasn't as much as he owed the king, but he wasn't as merciful. He got the servant locked up and, beat him up and everything. And then when people who were around saw that, they went to the king and they told the king, hey, look, this is what this servant has done. And the king was very upset. Now, bringing it back to us, the king is God, right? And we have been forgiven, right? And God is expecting us to extend that forgiveness to others. So imagine now, people around us, God sees everything. He's all seeing. So he knows when we don't forgive people. And just like the king, he's saying, hey, I forgive you. I extended grace to you. Why can't you extend it to other people? So this is the basics of forgiveness that I want us to keep in mind. Those of us that have received mercy, those of us that have received compassion from the Father, please let's try to extend it to other people. Now, I know that it's not easy. And the other parts of, this series, I will explain how I've been able to get to this point. Because trust me, I've been through a lot, a lot of, betrayal, offense, and, pain and hurt from people. But there are several things that made it easier for me to extend forgiveness and be able to mend certain relationships that people thought were completely done and over with, right? But the basics of that is every time someone offends me, I remember that I offend God, more than I would like to be proud of, right? And I go to him and I ask for forgiveness. I don't even have to beg. I don't even have to grovel. And he forgives me. So why can't I extend the same to people? Sometimes when people hurt us, we expect them to come begging and groveling before we can forgive them. But we don't even do that to God. And it's as simple as saying, Father, I have sinned against you. I ask for forgiveness, and he forgives us. So, we don't need people to grovel and, bow their heads on the ground to ask for forgiveness before we extend forgiveness to them. So I'll come back with another video, but I hope that this has been helpful so far. Okay. And we'll delve in deeper. And if you guys have any questions about forgiveness, please leave it in the comment and I will address it in one of the upcoming videos. Ta-ta, bye. God bless you. Mwah.